Welcome to another episode of Faith in Home Buying. Yes, I'm Tamika Ellsworth, and I'm equipping people of faith for the home buying process. And today it's pretty special because there's a very niche topic that I feel is very necessary to speak about. And I have some industry friends with me. So number one, I want to introduce them. So one is my colleague from EQ1 Real Estate, Yasmin Soto. Yasmin, say hello.
Hi everybody. Thank you for having me, Tamika.
Absolutely. No, she has such a heart in order to help people. And I thought it's so fitting to have her on. But not only that, we have tag team. We also have a PRMG mortgage partner, actually with EQ1. And this is Angela Horta. Say hello.
Hi everybody. And again, also thank you for having me, Tamika. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, both of your hearts, just to see home ownership and to actually provide hope for people. I think that's the biggest, at least for me, that's just the biggest qualifier of agents really trying to make a change, and lenders actually in this whole industry. And anytime I get an opportunity to speak to those that really have a heart to serve people, not just make the money, because that's one thing, right? But to serve people, especially those that might be without hope into home ownership. And so that's why I want to kick it off right now. First and foremost, Yasmin, I'm going to go to you first and tell them where you're at, how they can contact you. We're going to start with that so we can get that out of the way. But I do want to know, and I think the viewers too want to know, like, why is this particular subject dealing with ITIN, like financing or ITIN status or immigration status is a huge topic, and most people do not think that they can qualify for a home loan. And this is why we're doing this today, to let them know that yes, you can. So if you could talk a little bit about your personal experience, who you are, and just regarding the topic.
Yes, absolutely. So again, my name is Yasmin Soto. I'm a real estate agent with EQ1. My contact information is online, so you can contact me through Instagram too. My hashtag is sold by Yas. So very catchy. You connect it with my name, Yasmin. Um, Also, a little shining a little bit of light about ITIN and why I'm so passionate about it is it's one of my main whys I became a real estate agent, because I come from a background of immigrant parents, and it's very not a topic that's very talked about, because it's a little embarrassing sometimes to say it and be upfront about, you know, your immigration status or illegal status, or not coming here with the visa. And so a lot of our Hispanic community is in that situation, and we come here with the mentality that we want to provide a better lifestyle for our family and for our future generations. And we're very hardworking, honest people. So I come in from that background of having an ITIN number. I was a teenager in school, and you know, I wanted to apply for certain things, and so I had some difficulties, but I always pushed through because of the mindset that I had. I said, you know, I want to work, I want to get a job, I want to have a career, and having an ITIN at that time kind of did hold me a little back. But as laws started changing, then doors started opening up. And a lot of people's mentality is not the same. They think that because they have an ITIN, they're not available to having, maybe buying a home. Most importantly, that's such a huge goal for a lot of immigrants here. So that's why I'm so passionate about explaining that if you do have an ITIN number, you can still obtain that goal. You can still purchase a home. There is that program out there available, but it's just not talked about a lot. So I'm definitely here to inform and educate all my audience of what it really does take. You know, what are the steps necessary to get there and to make it happen, because it is available to us, to people that have ITIN numbers.
That's right. Excellent. And that's one of the reasons why I have you on. But not only that, as far as an agent is concerned, let's talk about the lending part, because again, obviously you need a loan in order to get, started. So Angela, this is where you come in. I know there's a lot of lenders that do and kind of don't mess with this area, but you do. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so as far as the lending world in general, of course, the less complicated a loan can be, the easier it is. With ITIN clients or borrowers, home buyers, there is a little bit of extra steps that are needed, extra documentation that's needed, and also extra a down payment that is needed, that's not usually required for regular home buyers with social security numbers. So with those, just like any other home buyer, you need a month's worth of pay stubs, 2 years tax returns, 2 years of W-2s or 1099s, depending on what you receive, 2 months of bank statements, savings, 401k, whatever you have, a valid ITIN card, and also valid government ID and passport. So those are typically what is used to start with, so that your income and your debt can be evaluated. A credit report is taken, but again, there are additional documents after that would be required as well.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the specifics of that on the next half. But in particular, remember, I love the phrase that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And I know that Yasmin has a personal component to this. But Angela, I mean, why is it, at least for yourself, and taking on this type of loan or these type of situations, because they can be a little bit tricky, why is it important to you?
So I actually am married to my husband. He had an ITIN. He came over from Mexico when he was younger. His parents sacrificed and made the trip over. And I've always had a heart to help those in need. And it didn't matter what background you came from, right? It didn't matter what your financial status was. I just have this big heart of wanting to help people, and being able to help the ITIN community is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to put in the work to help
Yeah.
Help everybody.
Exactly. And I think that's what's important. And I wanted to make sure I get that across, because, those that are listening right now, a lot of them are like, well, yeah, you say it, but, it'll fall off. Or, I have had a lot of clients actually that have told me and been completely discouraged by even trying to, or attempting to try to find a home, just based off of what a lender has said and has spoken. Now, granted, not every situation is doable. It's true. Or there's situations that need a little bit of time, right? Or collection of documentation, whatever it may be. There are certain limitations, but for the most part, there are people that are silent about this, but yet they can actually qualify. And I think I love to give hope. So in speaking of that, Yasmin, like, I know that you've had some recent closings that were pretty awesome. And it had to deal around this area. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I've had clients who are they're not with an ITIN specifically, but they are with DACA, which is something very similar to that. It's not an assigned social security number. It's just when you have a DACA, employment authorization is basically what it is. So I was able to connect them with a lender that they thought that they perhaps weren't going to be able to qualify because of that, their status, and because it's not a valid social security number. It's just an employment social security number.
Mhm.
So very something similar to ITIN, where an ITIN is a tax identification number that you file your taxes with. So a lot of people are very confused, and that's why we want to shine the light on knowing the differences, like the options available out there. So my client, going back to their situation, is that they're in the process of closing on their purchase. So because I was able, they approached me and they had that trust with me and they felt comfortable, because a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about, oh, this is my status, or this is the documentation that I have, because it's very private. So having that trust between the client, between myself and a lender and my client, really bringing everybody together to make this goal happen for them. And so that's what I did. That's what I always do for all my clients. I figure out, how can I help them? Who can I bring in? Who's going to be the best lender that can make this move forward? And so that they know all of their options, basically.
Exactly. No, and I think that's just so great, because it does make a difference. So in our next segment, we're going to talk more about the specifics. We're going to dive into Angela gave a high level, but we're going to talk about what things are actually needed, how we can make it happen, and just kind of go a little bit more in depth on what's required, and the difference, like you said, between a DACA and an ITIN, because I think that's important too. And then also, what type of loan products are out there. So stand by, everyone. We're going to come back with some more information, but please, PRMG, Angela Huerta, and then also Yasmin Soto with EQ1 Real Estate. This is Tamika Ellsworth, and I am equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Stay tuned for the next segment. And equipping people of faith for the home buying process, it is a great topic. ITIN and just immigration status, and knowing that there's still hope. So hopefully this message gets to you, and if it's not for you, it's for somebody else. But I want to reintroduce my guest. Yasmin, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yasmin Soto with EQ1 Real Estate. Best way to get in touch with me is through my mobile number. It's 408-583-7674. Y también hablo español. Soy bilingüe, inglés y español. Y mi número de teléfono, como se pueden comunicar conmigo, es 408-583-7674. Espero hablar con ustedes pronto.
Exactly. And I think that's so important too, that you know that she is bilingual. And if you have any questions, if you didn't catch everything, call her. And then Angela, you as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. Angela Huerta from PRMG. You can reach me at 408-568-8389. También yo estoy bilingüe y mi número es 408-568-8389.
Excellent. And so I know pretty much you'll probably have more questions, but let's just dive into it. And I think we'll probably on certain parts be able to kind of translate it into Spanish, just because I think this is the most important part. But let's start it off. What is an ITIN and how can it be used to purchase a home?
So an ITIN is usually when a person who doesn't have a social security number files for a tax ID number from the IRS. And usually the IRS will give them a letter and they could start filing their taxes, pay their dues to the US government. Un número de ITIN es una número que puede usar para declarar sus impuestos federales.
Exactly. And then What is the difference between ITIN and DACA? Because I know we talked about that before, because I think, Yasmin, you can probably cover this because you found, hey, do you know the difference?
Yes, so I personally had an ITIN from the beginning, from when I started working, 18-year-old. So a tax identification number, like Angela mentioned, is provided by the IRS when you want to file your taxes. Now, DACA is when you qualify under that certain law. And so if your case is approved, then you are provided with a work authorization card and a social security number that is only for employment purposes. That's the difference.
Exactly. And maybe translate that. So it's
Yeah.
high level.
So estamos platicando acerca de la diferencia entre un número de ITIN y un número de número social proveído por DACA, que es el Deferred Action para los estudiantes o como muchas personas trajeron familias y los hijos y estaban entre esa edad donde califican, entonces podrían aplicar para esta asistencia. Y cuando son aprobados, les dan un número de seguro social, pero ese número social es solamente para trabajar, para poder tener un estado legal y autorización de inmigración. A diferencia es de que un ITIN es solamente para declarar impuestos. Esa es la diferencia.
No, that's great. No, and I think that at least lays some groundwork on that. Now let's get into what's required, because we say that it's possible, but what's required? I know, Angela, you talked about it in the beginning, but let's kind of go a little bit more in depth in that. So what is the requirements in order to even do this, to get a loan?
Right. So first, we need to look at your income and against your current debt. And depending on how that ratio works, that's the allowable amount that you can qualify for a home loan. And of course, you need a down payment, anywhere from 10% to 20%. Most people qualify at the 15 to 20%. And we also need, bank statements, just to make sure that you have enough money to cover for your down payment and closing costs. And also, usually it's about 3 months in monthly payment, housing payment in reserve. So the bank, because these are different than normal loans that people with social securities have, there's a bit extra more requirements that are needed when you buy a home. Para la gente que tiene ITIN, necesita el entre que tenía entre 10% hasta 20%. La mayoría califica en 15% desde 20% en el entre. También necesita dinero para el cierre. Y con eso dinero nosotros revisamos los estados de cuenta de bancarios. Miramos sus ingresos que tienen contra sus deudas antes de comprar una casa. Y pues hay otros varios documentos también que necesitamos para tener una aprobación previa antes de comprar o ver una casa.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that, you guys. And I think that's the more high level. Again, I wish I had a whole long time to kind of delve into it. But how about this? What are some misconceptions that people have that keep them from going? Because honestly, if everyone knew, they'd probably be reaching out a lot more. So what are some misconceptions that you can debunk, at least in this small amount of time?
The straightforward is just because you have an ITIN doesn't mean you can't purchase a home.
Mhm.
That's the number one myth. Nobody, a lot of my audience, a lot of my friends, my personal friends and family members, also their friends and family, they're not aware of that loan program is an option for them. If they don't have a social security number, you can still apply for an ITIN loan with that identification number.
Mhm. Angela, any other kind of myths that keep people from actually
Yeah.
applying?
Yeah. So just take a look at what you're currently renting at. There is a home out there for you that can either be lower than your current rent or just at your current rent.
Mhm.
And it's possible if you can afford the payment, it doesn't matter what interest rate it's at.
That's another one. Just having conversations with people that have asked me questions, they're always like, "But the interest rates are so high,"
Mhm.
and then just taking consideration, I tell them, "Well, how much is the interest rate for the car that you're driving right now?" Think
Mhm.
about it that way, because you're renting and your rents are increasing every year. They're not going to go down, and so just taking that in consideration, I always bring up to their attention is yeah, interest rates may be slightly higher, but interest rates right now for conventional loan with a social security number is also increasing, and
Mhm.
they're going to keep going up. So just having that don't block your mindset. Don't block the mindset of thinking, oh, the interest rates are not something that I can afford. Well, let's really look at the numbers. Just open yourself up to that possibility to be. Well, let's find out what are the requirements really.
Exactly. And I would say this too, just how, and maybe Angela, you can talk about this, but how money is held. I know that there are certain programs that actually take into account, if you don't hold your money in, quote, a bank, untraditional ways. Talk a little bit about that, because I think people don't even know about this, that there's other alternative ways that you can hold money.
Yeah, so a lot of families do hold cash, under the mattress in their home in a safe box. And it's very important. We could use that cash, but it's also very important that we put it in the bank. We need at least 2 months to see it in the bank. If you have a business, your business deposits and income can be used as well. So as long as it's documented that it's part of the business income that you're receiving, we're okay with it. It's just all about documentation.
Yeah, no, I think again, we only have a couple more minutes, but I think what we've given people is enough to get them to say, hey, look, I need you to contact some folks. But so let me give these contacts information out again. So Yasmin, let them know how to get in touch with you. Don't be afraid. You have people that really do care and want to see you succeed and want to see you in a home. Believe me, I wouldn't put them on my show if I didn't believe that. So Yasmin, let them know how to reach you.
Yes. So contact me through my cell phone number, 408-583-7674. My email is my first name, Yasmin at eq1re.com. I'm also on social media as my sold by Yaz hashtag. And Facebook, you can also find me through Yasmin Soto Andrade.
Awesome. And then Angela, you the same.
Hi, so again, Angela Huerta from PRMG, 408-568-8389. My social media is also on Instagram and Facebook. The handle is Home Loans by Angela. You can reach me through anything. Y el sueño americano está por ustedes. It's there. So.
Si es posible, llámenos. Estamos a su disposición. No tengan, no piensen, hay que informarse y estamos aquí para ayudarles, para dejarles saber cómo podemos ayudarles para que puedan seguir adelante para comprar su casa.
That's right. And that, folks, is a wrap. You can always catch me, 408-561-7922. This is Tamika Ellsworth. And, I'm I really love equipping people, just equipping people in general, specifically people of faith for the home buying process. But honestly, if you have any more questions, comments, or want to know information, please do reach out. Remember, you can catch me actually on Instagram at Tamika Ellsworth. This will actually be a little clip to that. You can also go on the KFAX website. There's podcasts that are there. You can re-listen to this and maybe send it to a friend. So make sure you like and share. Also, you can catch me on TikTok. You already know that. Real estate _T. Thank you. God bless.